Hello and welcome back to Projectometry. Today we will have a quick yet powerful training session on risk management. We will cover what risk management is, why it's crucial for project and planning managers, and how you can apply it in real life even if you have never studied about this before. So the first thing we need to understand is what is a risk. A risk is an uncertainty that can affect your project. That can be both in the positive and negative way. The positive risk impacts the project positively, while the negative risks impacts the projects negatively. Risks are not just about what might go wrong, they are about what might happen. As a project manager or a planner, understanding the risks help you turn uncertainties into opportunities or manage the challenges before they arise. There are a number of reasons why the risk management matters. It helps you to avoid disasters, ensure successful project completion, gain a competitive advantage, increases accountability, and discover new possibilities for the project. Overall, implementing proper risk management system declutters the project and increases the chances of achieving project goal. There are 5 steps of risk management. Once you apply it to your project, these are identify, assess, plan responses, monitor and control, and communicate and review. We will now see one by one what are these steps in detail. The first one is to identify the risks. Start by identifying all the possible risks for a particular type of project that you are working on. For that, you need to brainstorm with your team, analyze similar kind of a project, and physically inspect your project site as well as similar other project sites. The second step is to assess and prioritize the list of risks. Not all risks are equal. Evaluate them based on the likelihood and their impact. Likelihood means the probability of the risk occurring on a scale of 1 to 5. Very much likely risk will have a score of 4 or 5, and a very scarce type of risk, which is not very common for a particular type of project, may be rated as 1. Impact means the severity of the risk on the project on a scale of 1 to 5. If the impact is catastrophic, it will have a impact score of 4 or 5, and if the impact is very minimal of a particular kind of a project, then the score will fall down to 1 or 2. Let us understand the concept of the risk heat map. Once you have the likelihood and impact scores for a particular type of a risk, you need to multiply them. Impact multiplied by the likelihood number gives you the product which is called the risk score of a particular risk. For example, if for a risk instance the likelihood score is 3 and impact score is 2, then the risk score of that risk is 3 into 2, that is 6. So that risk on the heat map will be plotted in this rectangle, and based on the risk score only, plan response will be decided. Let us go through a sample risk register format if you want to implement the risk management framework to your project. This is a sample risk register format. Here are the risk ID, description, category, likelihood, impact, risk score, response plan, owner, and status. These fields are the basic requirement of a risk register format. You can customize it with some advanced level of features, which we will see in another video. Risk ID is an unique identifier for each identified risk. Description is briefly describing the risk. Category classifies the risk, that is, it falls under the procurement, financial, or technical. Likelihood is a probability of risk occurring on a scale of 1 to 5. Impact is the severity of the risk in the project on a scale of 1 to 5. These two things, likelihood and impact, we have just discussed in detail. Multiplying them will get you to the risk score, which is likelihood multiplied by the impact. Response plan is the strategy to address the risk once you have the risk score on your table. Owner means the person who is responsible for managing the risk. And status means that tracking the current status, whether the risk is planned, active, you are monitoring that, or it is a resolved risk. The next step in the risk management framework is the plan response. For each high priority risk, decide on a strategy. The strategy can be to avoid the risk, that is, changing the project plan to eliminate the risk. For example, avoiding substructure construction in monsoon period so that the chances of subsidence collapse or inundation of the entire substructure area can be avoided. Next to the mitigation strategy, you can reduce the likelihood or impact of a risk and thereby mitigate the risk. For example, using multiple suppliers to reduce dependency on one for a scarce type of material is a mitigation strategy to reduce the impact of the risk. You can transfer the risk. For example, if there is a chance of equipment theft, you can insure your equipment and hence the risk is transferred to another party. You can also accept the risk, that is, acknowledging the risk and preparing the contingency plans. For example, setting aside some extra budget for potential cost overruns in a project. The next step is monitoring and control. Risks evolve. Regularly update your risk register, track new risks, and adjust your responses as needed. For example, a project can witness labor shortage at midway due to some changed scenario, although it may not be identified as a risk at the time of commencement. You will get new risks while the project progresses, and it is important to keep an eye on the new evolved risks on the course of the project and update your risk register accordingly. The final step of risk management system is communicate and review. Risks registers must be updated periodically and to be circulated to all the key persons. Every stakeholder of the risk management framework must be informed and involved in all the previous 4 steps of risk management. Keep your team and stakeholders informed for any update and lessons learned to improve the future projects. Let us go through 2 examples of risk to understand practically how to implement this to your project. The first one is cost escalation of raw materials. This is a financial category of risk whose likelihood we have considered as 4 because it is very common to see upward change of rates of construction materials, particularly if the project duration is 3 to 4 years or more. The impact is considered as 4 because the impact is very heavy on the finance of the project. So the risk score comes 4 multiplied by 4, that is 16. We have decided a response plan of transfer. We will use escalation clause in the contracts and will pre-purchase some key materials to avoid any upward revision of the prices. The owner will be the procurement manager and the status at present is planned and it will change with time. Another example is unexpected ground conditions, which is a technical kind of a risk. Since this is not very common, hence we have kept the likelihood as 2. It is not very common in case the geotechnical investigation is carried away rightly. But if it happens, the impact is very severe. It will disrupt the whole structure. So the impact score is 5. The risk score is likelihood multiplied by the impact, that is 2 into 5, that is equal to 10. And we have considered to accept this risk and include contingency fund for geological surveys and foundation redesign. The owner will be the technical head of the project and the status is currently monitoring, which will change further with onward action in this regard. Going back to the risk heat map, and you can see there are 5 zones in this heat map. These 4 rectangles have a red color, which means this is the severe zone. These 4 rectangles implies the catastrophic category of the risks. Then there's 2 rectangles of orange color is of significant risk. Then there is a yellow zone, which is a warning zone and of moderate risk. The light green zone is the low risk zone and the dark green zone is the negligible risk zone. So based on the risk score, which is nothing but impact multiplied by the likelihood, you will get the risk score, and based on that risk score, you will decide on which zone your risk falls in, and accordingly your planned response will be decided. In another video, we will discuss with more examples of risks in construction projects. Risk management is not about just avoiding problems, it's about ensuring the project success. Download the templates shared in the video, apply these tips to your project and see the difference. Thanks for watching. If you have found this video helpful, subscribe to us for more such videos. Let's catch up in the next video.